Hello everyone, this is Miskana, and this is my rationale about why Ravi should have died in Season 8, Episode 15, titled Lab Rats, and not Bobby Nash. First and foremost, I'll be talking out of my ass for this video out of sheer laziness to go back and find the episodes that I'll be referencing. But, a lot of the heavy lifting is done through the 911 wiki, so thanks for that. I'll be tagging it below. Also, this is just an opinion-based video where I have no plans to change my mind. Without further ado, I just hope that you subscribe because it's fast, fun, and free, so let's dive into the deep end. To start, we know nothing about Ravi as he just started getting screen time for more than 2 seconds in the most recent season. So I'll just go through a list of plot points, I guess. So he was introduced in Season 4, Episode 3, titled Jinx, where he showed up as a probie from the B team. And for reference, all the good characters that we see, such as Bobby, Hen, Chimney, Eddie, Buck, are on the A teams, and the A team and B team don't overlap for more than like 10 minutes. We don't see him. So basically the plot of this episode is that he says the word quiet, which is seen as a jinx in the firefighter realm, because I think Station 19 also covered this.
You're the new B-shift probie, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Just finished my first shift.
How was it?
No, pretty quiet.
Whoa! Did he just say?
No, sorry. I just said it was...
Don't say it again! Hold on. I don't know. Maybe if he says it a second time, it undoes the curse.
Maybe if he said it a third time, the Candyman will show up and kill us all. Let's not test the theory.
That word is forbidden in the firehouse. Any house, we don't use the Q word.
Because it means that they'll be busy for the rest of the shift, which, spoiler alert, that's exactly what happened. And if I remember correctly, they couldn't even sit down to eat dinner because they were so busy. So thank you, Robbie. Wow. And I remember in the episode, there was a flashback to Buck saying the word quiet. So I guess, they wanted to parallel the last 2 probies that the 118 had. So yeah, that's that. The next time we see a major plot point for this man is Season 4, Episode 12, titled Treasure Hunt, where he didn't want to be on a team with anyone from the 118.
Is that Proby?
Guys, I found it!
What's 5 million divided by 8? You're not doing any more math.
And acted like he didn't know them when they were caught up by the police for the attempted murder of this author guy or something.
We all found an empty treasure chest, drove down here like an angry mob to confront him. Now he's dead, but these facts are unrelated to each other.
Rick, he was dead when we got here.
We didn't kill him. We just wanted to.
Buck,
You're new.
yeah. I'm not really with them. I barely know these people, so...
Detective.
Next, Season 5, Episode 8, which is titled Defend in Place, where it just basically talks about him having cancer as a child for 2 milliseconds. Next, Season 6, Episode 14, titled Performance Anxiety, where he deals with this 911 call where this dad drives off a pier, and basically Robbie finds out the dad intentionally drove off the pier with his kids because of whatever the situation was, and he wanted to take his kids with him.
What haunts me is the one that I lost. It's the one that I saved. That car didn't go off the pier on accident. The father drove it off the pier. He wanted to kill his kids.
But basically, because of that, he left the 118 temporarily because of fears of saving people and how he was telling Chimney how he doesn't believe that everyone should be saved and how do we determine that? It paralleled Buck because he kind of became like clipboard Buck, just Fire Academy Ravi, I guess. I don't know, girl. And then the last one would be in Season 8 where he was just basically Eddie's stand-in while Eddie was in Texas. And I think the first episode that they had Ravi fill in for, which was Episode 11, because Eddie left after the Maddie kidnapping arc, that's when nobody could get his name right because they just kept calling him Eddie.
You're Buck, Eddie, you're on the flanks.
I think you mean Buck and Ravi.
Oh yeah, Robbie, sorry.
I'm used to it.
Which is low-key embarrassing. Anyways, like I said, before Season 9, this man had no substance to him. Like, there were other details I didn't add because they were small throwaway lines that I didn't care to remember, like him owning property. I know he said that like a few times, and don't really care about that man. So if you care about if you care about Ravi, I suggest you check out his 911 wiki page. It's pretty much a quick read. That's where I got all of these details. Like, I remembered them, I just didn't remember the episodes because, like I said before, I do not care about this man. Next on my thing, I deadass forgot he was in Lab Rats until I looked at the wiki, and basically the wiki was saying how he decides to risk military prison after defying orders in order to attempt to secure a cure for a sick and infected Chimney. But during the lab explosion, Ravi unfortunately runs out of oxygen and he passes out, and Bobby attached the lab's oxygen get up to his tank. So basically Bobby sacrificed himself for Ravi. And I genuinely forgot all of this what happened because Ravi just does not matter in my mind. Like, I remember the Hen situation, I remember Chimney, I remember Buck falling out, I remember Athena falling out, and I feel like just like Eddie, the writers don't care to show Ravi, and they didn't really start showing him and like making him a character with a little bit of substance until after Bobby died. And even then, I remember him for his sassiness and being a sellout, like the time I mentioned previously during the treasure hunt storyline where he didn't want to associate with them, and he basically pawned him off to Tommy. Wait a minute, or was it Season 8 where Buck got drunk and then they had a one-night stand?
Hey, look who I found!
Tommy.
Take a seat, come on, please. So, I know you guys probably have a lot of catching up to do, so, bye.
Anyways, that's one of the stuff I remember. So it was a shocker to me that he's even in 51 episodes because he's not relevant. I'm sorry. And if you were to combine all of his scenes over the course of these 51 episodes, I promise you would probably make up like a 3-hour compilation of actual substance. If that, like, maybe that's generous, maybe it's more, maybe it's less, but that is being generous nonetheless. And it's funny how we know more about characters like Josh and Karen that are outside of the 118 than we do about someone that is within the 118. And I guess you can say that about Eddie because Eddie's character is Christopher-centric. Like, without Christopher and Shannon, we don't really know too much about this man. And it's like, you could argue this is because he had, like, these other characters have been on the show since the beginning, but we have more knowledge about Sue, Linda, the old Terry, Michael, the Bobby Nash, the baby, Ji-eun, like, Shannon. We know all of this information and knowledge about these insignificant characters than we do Ravi, a member of the 118. Are we following? And it doesn't even help the fact that he's in scenes but adds nothing to them. Like, he'll say a sassy one-liner or just, like, be there without being there. Like, he's physically present, but he adds nothing of substance, right? Are you understanding? So yeah, he's in 51 episodes, but that could easily be you or me. Like, we don't see this man doing too much. Also, another point that must be brought up is the fact that the writers made it a last-minute decision to kill off Bobby, and a lot of people found out about the death via TikTok. I personally didn't, because I started watching the show when, I actually found out on AL3 where it's like, we die like Bobby Nash, and like one of the tags would be like 0815 lab rats, and I'm like, oh, okay. And at that point, I've never seen the show, so I'm like, you know what, I've seen Lone Star, let's just go. So I started watching the show right before season 9 started airing. So I watched all 8 seasons in the span of like a month or 2 or 3 with my mom, and then we were able to start season 9 like a week later when it was airing, and then we're unfortunately watching Nashville. Boo, stinky, binky. But, you know, my guy from Insatiable's there, so I digress. But what had me is the fact that, like, I'm pretty sure I was around for some of the beef because, like, later, I was finding out about it. But I guess they tried to throw people off with fake scripts and do some social media cleanup. And I'm pretty sure they did the funeral twice with Ravi's turnouts, too. And I think the fake script was like, oh, it was all just Bobby's dream to throw people off the tracks. But no, that man is dead. And then they wanted to make matters worse by having Athena do a case where it was about a burnt baby. And it was trying to, like, be a parallel. And it was basically saying to the fans, hey, you think Bobby's in a government lab? No, I'm sorry. He has DEAD. For real. So, I don't remember the details of that. I just know it happened to some extent. So, if you want to learn more about that, do your TikTok sleuthing and love that, I guess. Also, the actors themselves don't even agree with the decision to kill off Bobby. And I highly doubt they would have such strong feelings if it was Ravi, because Ryan Guzman doesn't even bring up his ex-wife dying in the whole doppelganger situation as much as he brings up Bobby dying. Especially in those, like, Rescueverse panels. Anytime they're asked, like, what storyline could they retcon? Like, if we could bring back the character, who would it be? Like, there's no hesitation. It's always Bobby. It's like, not even your ex-wife, Shannon, girl. Not even, you be talking about her so much on the show, and you're not even going to bring her up to make Eddie happy. That's because you know Eddie is G-A-Y, a gay man. That is a DL man that has been DL because Shannon was, like, the only woman he knew, and he keeps performing. But anyways, every single member of the cast that has had an opportunity to bring up Peter Krause, basically Bobby Nash, they're like, bring back my Bobby to me. Bring back, I'll bring back my Bobby to me. Yes, that is what they're doing. And I promise you that would not be the same reaction if they were like, oh, we're killing off Ravi. Okay. I was like, obviously they'll be sad because they've been working with Ani Rude for years. I don't know. I think he was in there since 2020, 2022, 2021. So he's been in there since 2021. But Peter, my beautiful man, or whatever Meg was saying before the cheating, you know? He's been in there since 2018. Like, he's literally like a dad to all of them. So let's compare a coworker and like a dad to you. Come on. Whatever. Peter is bae, and it shouldn't have been him. Like, he had so much more to do, and Ravi has potential that is not going to be seen no matter what. So my thing is, they could have killed off Bobby, but done it in a better way. Like, I feel like it would have been beneficial to do like a cancer thing because of that radiation spill in the earlier seasons, like 2, 3, 4, girl, one of them. And they could have been like, yeah, so you know how we said it was in the clear? That's because the scans couldn't, like, pick up anything. But in reality, you got that canceroni, buddy. Or it's like, it could have been a firefighter dying of cancer like they did the Mexican girl's dad from Station 19. Did he die of cancer? I'm pretty sure he died of cancer. But they could have done that. So say like a ripping and running off Station 19 anyways. Ooh, did I say that? But yeah, I feel like they could have killed off Bobby and Ravi, but Bobby dying like a couple seasons after the fact. Okay, so editing music and all here, I just wanted to add that I have a lot more like alternative Bobby deaths because I did mention it while I was initially filming, but I've been watching a lot of the Buddy System podcasts and I've been watching that shit religiously. So because I've been watching them talk about this show, it gave me some alternative Bobby death ideas and I'll just share them with y'all. In addition to some notes / grievances I had and things like that. You know, I probably have more, but again, I can't think of them on the top of my head, which is why I wrote all this stuff down. So number one for the alternative Bobby deaths, this is outside of the ones that I already provided, mind you. Don't do the deadly virus or whatever, that basically what actually happened in Lab Rats, but instead pull a chimney. So that one episode before the wedding and the whole bachelor party where he was basically walking around with necrosis or something, I don't remember what it was. Anyways, but pull a chimney, but he falls into a coma, so that season 9 would be spent taking care of him and everyone visiting just to decide to pull the plug so that Eddie can be there. Buck can talk about, you know, how he's feeling, and Buck can still have his one-to-one last final moments with Bobby and how much he means to him. And then Athena can also have some autonomy because Athena really didn't get to see Bobby in his last moments, so that kind of fucking pissed me off, which I don't remember Lab Rats. I watched the show in the span of like less than a month, so everything blends together, but I'm pretty sure Athena didn't really get to see him and that moment was given to Buck, which is okay, but Athena's his wifey boo, so alternative. Okay, and then most of the season being season 9 can be the same, or have Bobby be killed by the mafia guy's son, and I think his name was Anatoly, while he was looking for Athena, rather than stabbing at Eddie for no reason, right? So, like, Athena is technically the reason why Anatoly's dad is dead, thus, while Bobby is in a coma, he finds out, while Bobby is in a coma, Anatoly finds his room, because everybody's like, we gotta get Athena out of her room, but mind you, they are trying to do that, so nobody's really thinking, hey, what about Bobby in this situation? So Bobby basically gets stabbed while he's in a coma, and yeah, that'll be his way of dying, or like shot or something. Hopefully that makes sense, because my notes suck, cock and balls. So number 2, the multiverse theory. So his family's death is a canon event, like Miguel losing his daughter, like Spider-Man 2099 or something, or Peter Parker losing Uncle Ben / Aunt May. Haha, get it, Aunt May? May Grant, yeah. But the show ends with what his life would be like if he never returned as a firefighter. So technically, everything up until like they find out that the show won't be renewed can be written the same. But the last episode would just be Bobby waking up and being like, wait, what? No. Or it can be what life would be like if Bobby didn't decide to transfer but stayed in Minnesota, you know, drinking and wasting his life away. So I don't know. At least we'll know Bobby is alive. Or we could literally just do like into the multiverse type shit. We already got like Ghost Bobby, so we might as well just do it where he still has his canon event, like losing his family, but we see alternative versions of him, like we saw the Black Spider-Man, the Pig Spider-Man, like all of this stuff, you know? Anyways, hopefully that makes sense. And then for my notes / grievances, I have 3 of them. So number 1, I'm pretty sure Albert wasn't there for the birthing of baby Nash, and he certainly wasn't there for the birthday. So can we like bring people's families back in, especially when their family is celebrating important things? And it's like not even a mention of Albert or a text to him is crazy work, because we last saw him in like what, season 5 or 6 when G was born. So crazy. Right. We couldn't pay my boy. Is that why we killed off Bobby? Is that why we killed off Bobby and don't really add new characters because we can't afford it? Right. We spent all our money on Space Arc. So I wish we can see Albert, because they had the perfect opportunity to mention Albert in season 8 when Bobby died, and when Nash was born. Baby Nash had all season 9 to do that. Yeah, the kidnapping arc could have meant like early. That was 8A, I believe. The kidnapping arc with Maddie while she was pregnant. Like, best believe Albert would have been there. Whatever, bro. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of missed opportunities. We haven't even gotten Carla back. Carla could be helping Buck in season 10. Full circle momento. And I feel like it could be a parallel if they had Eddie bring in Carla for Buck rather than Buck bring in Carla for Buck, right? So I guess that's part 1A and part 1B. So part 1A would be bring back Albert, and 2, bring back Carla. Also, I guess 1C would be bring back Eddie's sisters, because that entire season 8 shenanigans 7 and 8 where Christopher was gone, not even a call up from his sisters is crazy. Not even a mention where like they could have been like, oh my god, Edmundo, why did Christopher leave? And you know, he has a whole fake conversation talking to himself, but in reality it's his sisters, you know, movie magic, TV magic. So I feel like even a phone call where we don't see their face or like hear their voices, I guess it would still be beneficial instead of spending all your time FaceTiming Buck. Right, no other family, correct, right. Number 2, sperm baby. We have the sperm baby, but I feel like at the beginning of it, around season 5 or so, when Buck was mentioning it to other people, especially Eddie, which I don't remember if he did or not, I feel like Eddie could have said, hey, I know you want to do this for your friend, but you do realize that Christopher is your kid too. I did put you as his legal guardian in my will, so you don't have to go through this if you don't think you could be a good parent if anything happened to Cameron. And I say this would be a good callback, or a good callback potential in season 9, right? Where even like, if they would have done this and then mentioned it in season 9 after Cameron and the fucking girl or whoever died, and Eddie was like, you're gonna be a, because Buck was like, well, I had to step out of Theo's life because I knew I would just be in too deep or whatever he said.
You ghosted them? Look, the day he was born, I held him in my arms and I knew if I stayed in his life, it was gonna get messy. You remember the Beagle?
Fair point.
But I feel like that would be a good thing because Eddie could be like, Buck, you do realize you're already a good parent. Like, I put you in my will to be Chris's legal guardian because you already have that potential. If you didn't have that dog in you, if you didn't have that fight in you, then I wouldn't have put you in my will, no? And I think that would make more sense to what Buck ended up doing in 8:18, which was fostering Theo. Are we following me? So I feel like these little seeds could have been planted, which would have, aided Buck, like our understanding of why Buck did it, rather than just a simple conversation with Harry saying, oh, we're the only two here that aren't kids or don't have kids, which is like, yeah, that's true. But that conversation, like with Eddie, during that one episode where the dad, kid, whoever got stuck in the slide and they're talking about sperm this, sperm that, that would have been beneficial, right? And in my notes I say this because it would be a good callback that could be mentioned in my version of season 9 or even in season 10 when we get a Buck, Eddie, and Theo interactions, or Buck, Eddie, Theo, and Christopher interactions. And last, in my notes / grievances / rewrites / headcanons, whatever you want to call it. It's not really a note or a grievance, that's why I gave it all these labels, but does Christopher even know that Buck would be his legal guardian if anything happened to his dad? Like, I don't remember if there was a conversation that was had, and I read a lot of fanfics, so in the fanfics there was a conversation, but again, I'm mixing fanfic and reality, so please let me know. Because I was like, has there ever been a conversation between Buck and Christopher? Because the only thing that's popping up in my head is the conversation that Buck and Christopher had when he had to tell Christopher that his dad was shot, but other than that, I don't think so. Because that was after that entire thing happened, right? Where he was like, you act like you're expendable, Evan, but you're not, or whatever.
Why, you said you did this last year. Why are you just telling me now?
Because, Evan, you came in here the other day and you said you thought it would have been better if it had been you who was shot. You act like you're expendable. But you're wrong.
And I feel like, well, I don't feel like, we literally never mentioned the will again after the hospital scene, and I wish that Eddie would have told Christopher, because I feel like that would have prompted some talks of romantic implications of that decision, because Christopher is very intuitive, right? He knows his shit, like, and I feel like Christopher would accept that Buck will be his legal guardian if anything were to happen to him, and this was back in, season 4, I think? And it's like, even if Eddie were to tell Christopher right now, this man is practically grown, so it's not like Buck would have to do too much, right? And I feel like Christopher would question why it would be Buck rather than his family, and I think because of that would also prompt his self-reflection, his being like Eddie, and maybe some actual implications of Buddy being a slow burn, and that Eddie might not be straight, because he doesn't really start saying that until season 8 or maybe before that, but I just remember, specifically him saying, oh, I'm straight, when the priest was talking to him about juice and, the juice theory and joy and the risky business of it all.
How about you? You come here often?
Oh, listen, no offense, I'm straight.
Oh, that's all right. I'm celibate.
So yeah, even if Eddie, Buck, and Christopher sat down and had a conversation together as their little family, there would be some talks, some buddy talks, and we need those, rapidamente. Are we following? Because even in season 9, we still don't get any character development for Ravi or Eddie. Literally had my men on a whole road trip where they basically were called gay, and no thought behind Eddie's eyes, no thoughts. And the only storyline that Ravi had that lasted more than a few episodes, besides being Eddie's replacement while he was in Dixie's, and I guess you can count the Fire Academy, but don't care about that man enough to recount all that, is the fact that he's dating May. Wowzers! A relationship none of us saw coming. Totally didn't see that coming. And it's like, my brother in Christ, you fumbled that up and was making like backhanded comments about nurses, aka other first responders, and then like he just be. I do not like Ravi. I don't. I'm sorry. Like, I guess his attitude works better with the boys than it does with May, because I just be taken aback. I be taken a little aback. Actually, even with the boys, he'll be saying something. I'm like, who asked you? Who asked you? Or like, it's like, okay, but like, was that necessary? Like, I'd be thinking that in my head every time he talks, because I'm like, you add nothing of substance here.
Boring, yawning, sloppy, lazy.
You are literally a third wheel. Every time he's in a scene, which is mostly with like Buck and Eddie, or Buck, Eddie, and Harry. Now that Harry's in the 118, and he's like a third wheel. A third wheel. And it's like, you're just one of the many like bullies, and we don't need you. We didn't need you before season 4, and we don't need you now. Like, you don't really add anything. Not me saying you, like you're Ravi in this situation. Ravi doesn't add anything, I promise you. I promise you, if he died in Lab Rats instead of Bobby, then it would have been okay. And we would have moved on like normal. We wouldn't be having a Nashville spinoff where we're having Don over here mention Bobby. I met him once at a conference. It's like, okay, girl, love that for you. Oh, Firefighter Games, Bobby nominated us. Well, season 9, episode 12, and season 1, episode 12, yay. Well, really did something. Oh, Bobby died. Therefore, we're going to name our baby Robert Nash. Wowzers. You know how the film works. Someone dies and a baby lives, and it's like that spirit reincarnated or some shit. I don't know. Also, back to Ravi. I need to stop with the ranting and raving. But in season 9, like, instead of being a bully or like a third wheel or just a sassy piece of shit sometimes, not gonna lie, to Harry in season 9, he could have been a mentor to Harry, because he was literally the most recent probie that they had, and not Buck. Buck was the first probie that we saw on 911. Was he even a probie at the time? Girl, doesn't matter. Ravi was the most recent probie that we had that stuck around. I don't think we can count Albert, because like he wasn't even at the 118. He was fucking somewhere else, and then he left because he was like, oh, I'm doing this for Chimney, not me. But like, you could have been a mentor to Harry, because Ravi was literally the most recent probie, and he was working at the Fire Academy for a half a season or so. Very interesting, very interesting. And it's like, y'all are writing these characters into a corner, and then you just keep pressing them against the corner because you just have nothing of substance for them to do or be. Literally. They are, I feel like they're getting May out of her corner by having her become a nurse. This accelerated nursing program better do something. And Harry being a firefighter doesn't even fucking make sense. Brother dropped out of high school, but you know, that's what happens when we don't do our research. And I feel like the only reason why Ravi is with May is so that they could, you know, have that ending scene of season 9, episode 18, or whatever the last episode was, where Ravi gave May socks for the nursing program. We saw Harry and Buck talking about being 2 losers in the loner club, and then we end up seeing Buck adopt Theo, so now Harry's just a lone ranger.
Oh. Socks? You got me socks?
Well, compression socks. Your life is about to change, May Grant, and so is the amount of time you spend on your feet.
Feels like everybody here either has a kid or is a kid, except for us. Just makes you wonder how you fit in, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so that's it.
Because Ravi and Harry don't really get along. Like, they don't have chemistry because, you know, they haven't built that up. Because instead of Ravi being a mentor, he's just been a little dipshit to Harry. They don't have a relationship. Like, it's just like, oh, you're dating my sister? Righty. Rather than, like, Harry and Buck already have that relationship, and like that brotherly relationship, because he's like an adopted son, just like Harry and May were adopted kids to, I want to say Peter, what is his name? Bobby. I mean, I don't really have too much to say, because, you know, there's really nothing you can possibly say about Ravi that can change my mind about the fact that he should have died in Lab Rats. I'm sorry. There are people that will be like, oh, well, Peter served his purpose. I mean, Bobby served his purpose, you know. But no, I don't think that, because realistically, he was in a spot where he was finally like restarting his life, right? It's like, you could say he's been restarting it. He met Athena. He has great kids. But, you know, I think the cruise ship arc, the cartel arc, the building a house for yourself rather than living in Michael's shadows in that same sorry house, I think that would have been a perfect thing to really showcase that Bobby set his life the way it needed to be. Like, you can't keep holding on to the fact that, you know, you killed over 140 people or whatever in Minnesota. You can't. And he was like, I'm not ready to leave you, so don't leave me. I feel like in that instance, Ravi should have stepped up and been like, hey, like, you are the captain. Like, I was a cancer kid. Like, I know what it means to like feel this way, right? And you know, you're more of the 118 that I have ever been. Like, you are the 118. And I feel like if Ravi steps up to be like a martyr and would have been like, hey, no, take that oxygen back. I don't care if you're the captain. You are the 118, and I hope that like this is just a lesson learned or something. Then I feel like I would have liked Robbie more. Like, but I don't remember what Robbie did in that situation because I forgot he was even in the episode until like 2 minutes before filming this. But I feel like if Robbie were have been a martyr, it would have been better, right? And then like for season 9, they could have just had May focus on like figuring out who she was, and I feel like she could have just dated the nurse, bro. Date the nurse, like everything could have been the same except for being with Robbie because Robbie would have been dead, and then she could have just got with the nurse, and that could have segued into a new world of 911 that we haven't discovered. The hospital world, the nursing world, like what happens behind the doors. And that would have been really cool to see, or a really cool shot to see in season 10 where, you know, the 118 is pushing a patient through the doors and May's like, I got y'all. And then we see like a couple minutes of what life is like behind the doors when they, as in the 118, are supposed to let go, you know, move on and do the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people in the least amount of time, or whatever the quote is. So to wrap up, I know Ravi is a favorite character for some people. He's never been a favorite character of mine. He'll never be a favorite character of mine. And he doesn't even exist in my mind when I think of 911. Sorry, not sorry. Like, anytime I think of the 911 universe, Ravi's not a thought in my mind. Even while I was watching the Rescueverse panels, I'm like, why is my brother here? Like, he's not really adding anything. Sorry, Annie Rude, but sorry, not sorry. And even when they were talking, I was thinking about literally every other character. I was thinking about the paramedic guy that was trying to fucking kill Chimney and you know, bring him back to life. I really wish, you know, he had more stuff. Like, I wish they fleshed out his life more. I wish they fleshed out him more than they fleshed out Robbie, man. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I know there are people that enjoy his presence, and some of those people would argue that he's their favorite because he has so much potential. But do you know who has so much potential, yet also get shitty writing despite being a main role since season 2? Guess who? Guess who? Was it Eddie you guessed? Ding, 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 ding. You would have guessed correct. But this video isn't about my boy Eddie and his interesting acting. It's back to Robbie. I personally wouldn't mind if he wasn't even in the 118, as I mentioned previously, especially during the arc where he wasn't there. Like in season 1 through 3, I didn't really feel any type of hole, and that's because we already had really strong established characters. Like, we didn't need Robbie, and I think we wouldn't even need him now realistically because May and Harry are older, so that would have been a perfect opportunity to explore other avenues. So rather than Harry becoming a first responder, specifically a firefighter, despite not even graduating high school or getting the certificate that you need in order to like replace your high school diploma in California, which there was no mentions of either, I feel like he could have been a different first responder, just like May ended up choosing her accelerated nursing. Like I said before, the only reason why Ravi is relevant now is because Bobby is dead, and the writers are trying to lessen the impact because they also did a 1-year time skip, which was like, righty, very interesting. And I feel like they're trying to make it more of an ensemble show because they also wrote, you know, themselves into a hole because Eddie came back. So now there's no need for Robbie to also be on the team. Because the only reason why Robbie was there in the first place so much is to replace Eddie. Like, my brother could have been going back to the B team. Yeah, he's still here. So I'm like, not only do we have Eddie, Buck, Robbie, Hen, Harry, Chimney, well, yeah, I guess, and yeah, others. It's like, now we're doing too much. And I feel like they're doing that to retcon a lot of the stuff. And like, I am tired. So now that Bobby is dead, we don't even see Hen and Karen for real. Like, we don't see that dynamic. We don't get to see the Bobby and Athena dynamic. And I better not see Athena with any other person because you just can't replicate that. I didn't even like her with Michael, so good riddance. But no one will ever be Booby. And that's just point blank, period. Anyways, that's enough yapping. I suggest you check out my other 911 rant from like a couple months ago. I don't even know what I said in the rant. I think it was about the first couple episodes of season 9. Because Harry even being considered as a firefighter pissed me off so much to prompt that video. But whatever. Peace, love. See you in the next one. Bye.